Long ago, in the village of Anaka, a powerful chieftain named Abu ruled with wisdom, but also a deep sense of pride. He declared a curse before his passing, a prohibition against marriage for men. Abu's final words warned that any man who dared defy the ban would invoke the wrath of ancestral spirits and face certain death. The curse was passed down through generations, and soon, no man in Anaka dared to dream of marriage. Families were bound by unspoken fear, and the village lived in a perpetual state of mystery and melancholy. Over the years, this curse grew into a shadow that touched every household, shaping the lives of Anaka's men. Each new generation grew up believing that love was forbidden, a trap that would end in ruin. Stories of men struck down by mysterious illnesses or vanishing into the forest spread like wildfire, reinforcing the chieftain's curse. Despite the beauty of Anaka's landscape and the resilience of its people, the village felt empty, like it was missing the laughter of children and the joy of family gatherings. Love had become a dangerous word, whispered only by those brave enough to remember. Moby, a young farmer in Anaka, knew all too well the weight of the curse. He had grown up under its shadow, watching his father grow old and lonely, never daring to remarry after his first love was lost. But despite the curse's grip on the village, Moby's heart longed for companionship. His days were spent working in the fields, but his mind often wandered to Asabi, a vibrant and kind-hearted young woman he had known since childhood. Her laughter reminded him of sunshine after rain, and her presence seemed to lift the heavy gloom that hung over the village. One day, while gathering herbs by the river, Moby and Asab's paths crossed, and they shared a quiet moment together. Their eyes met, and Moby felt a surge of courage he hadn't known before. He knew the risks, but found himself captivated by Asabe's warmth and beauty. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the river, Moby made a silent promise to himself. He would defy the curse if it meant a chance at happiness with Asabe. Little did he know, this decision would unravel secrets buried deep in Anaka's past. Word of Moby's feelings for Asabe soon spread through the village, sparking a mix of concern and fear among the elders. They warned him to abandon his desires, recounting tales of those who had attempted to marry in the past, only to vanish or face tragic fates. The ancestors do not forgive, the oldest elder, Cato, told Moby, his voice filled with solemn warning. The chieftain's curse is real, boy. Do not tempt fate. Moby listened, but his heart remained steadfast. He began to question the origin of the curse. Was it really the wrath of the ancestors, or had fear simply been passed down as fact? Determined to seek answers, Moby decided to visit the shrine where the ancestral spirits were said to dwell. He needed to know the truth about the chieftain's curse and if there was a way to break it. His love for Asabe had ignited a courage within him that would not be easily extinguished. Under the cover of darkness, Moby made his way to the ancient shrine nestled deep within the forest. The shrine was surrounded by towering trees and overgrown vines, a place avoided by the villagers for generations. As he approached, he felt an eerie stillness, as though the spirits were watching him. He took a deep breath and called out, "Ancestors, I seek answers." "Why must men not marry?" There was no immediate response, but a cold wind rustled through the trees, and Moby felt a strange energy surround him. He continued, "If this curse is true, show me why. And if it is not, let me be free." The air grew colder, and a faint whisper echoed through the shrine. The voice was ancient and full of sorrow, but Moby couldn't make out the words. Determined, he vowed to return until he found the truth, regardless of the dangers. Asab had heard rumors of Moby's late-night visits to the shrine, and her heart filled with dread. She feared for his safety and the wrath of the spirits. "Moby, please stop," she pleaded with him. "The curse has claimed too many. I could not bear to lose you too." Moby took her hand and reassured her. "Asabe, I must do this. Our love should not be punished by fear. I need to know if this curse is real or just a shadow cast over us." Asab looked into his determined eyes, torn between her fear and her love for him. She knew that Moby's quest was more than just about their love. It was about uncovering a truth that had bound their village in sorrow for too long. Though reluctant, she decided to support him, vowing to stand by his side, whatever the outcome. Together, they would face the mysteries of the past, hoping to unlock the key to their freedom. That night, Moby had a vivid dream. He found himself standing before an ancient man dressed in robes, with eyes that seemed to pierce through his soul. "Moby!" the man's voice echoed. "You seek to break what was bound by blood. This curse was not placed in anger, but in sorrow." The vision faded, leaving Moby with more questions than answers. Who was this man, and what did he mean by bound by blood? The next morning, Moby shared his dream with Asabi, who believed the man might be an ancestor revealing a piece of the curse's origins. They decided to seek out Cato, the village elder, in hopes that he could interpret the dream. Perhaps the curse had deeper roots than anyone realized, and Moby was determined to find out just how far they went. When Moby and Asabe visited Cato, the elder hesitated before speaking. "The curse," he began slowly, "was indeed born from sorrow, not hatred. The chieftain Abu loved his people deeply, but he feared betrayal." Cato's words sent a chill through Moby, as the elder continued. The chieftain's own wife betrayed him, leaving him with a broken heart. In his grief, he vowed no man in Anaka would suffer as he did. His spirit lingers, ensuring the curse remains. Moby and Asabi listened intently, realizing the curse had personal origins, tied to betrayal and heartbreak. This revelation only strengthened Moby's resolve. He saw no reason why an ancient sorrow should rob him, and every other man, of the chance to find happiness. He resolved to continue his quest, convinced that the curse was not beyond redemption. Moby's next step was to find a way to communicate directly with Chieftain Abu's spirit. After hearing Cato's story, Moby began to understand the depths of Abu's grief and bitterness. He realized the curse was a reflection of that sorrow, but he believed that perhaps Abu's spirit could be reasoned with. The curse was based on betrayal, but what if Moby's intentions were pure? Could love, pure and true, somehow dissolve the hatred Abu carried? In his heart, Moby felt that the only way to break the curse was to demonstrate loyalty and compassion, a love that Abu himself had been denied. Moby shared his thoughts with Asabe, who agreed that they would face the spirit together. With renewed resolve, Moby and Asab prepared themselves to confront Chieftain Abu's spirit. To demonstrate the purity of their love, they decided to undergo a traditional ritual of commitment. This ceremony, rarely performed in Anaka, symbolized undying loyalty and selflessness. Asaba braided a sacred herb into a bracelet for Moby, a symbol of her support and faith in him. In return, Moby crafted a necklace from river stones, representing his steadfastness. As they stood before the village altar, hands intertwined, Moby and Asabe exchanged silent vows. This bond, they believed, would not only seal their love, but also serve as proof to Abu's spirit that their intentions were pure. Even the skeptical villagers looked on with quiet admiration, witnessing the courage that Moby and Asabe embodied, a courage that might just be powerful enough to defy the curse. That night, Moby returned to the shrine with Asabe by his side. As they whispered prayers, a gust of wind swept through the trees, and a faint, mournful voice echoed in the air. "Why do you seek what is forbidden?" The voice was old and filled with pain. Moby stepped forward and spoke from his heart. "Chieftain Abu, I seek not to defy you, but to honor love. I believe that your curse was born from sorrow, but my heart is true. I will not betray Asabe." For a moment, silence fell. Then the voice returned, colder this time. "If you wish to prove yourself, you must face 3 trials of loyalty. Only then will I reveal if your love can withstand the curse." With those words, the presence faded, leaving Moby and Asabe. The journey was treacherous, but Moby didn't hesitate. With Asab by his side, he ventured into the mountain. determined to prove that he was willing to do anything for their love. After days of travel, they finally returned, the herb in hand, to great applause from the villagers. The final trial was a test of loyalty between Moby and Asabe. They were placed in a darkened chamber, and the villagers asked them to pledge their devotion, not to each other, but to the people of Anaka. Moby looked into Asabe's eyes, knowing that this test was not about their personal bond, but about the community they had built together. With unwavering voices, they pledged their loyalty to the village, to the people who had supported them through the trials. That night, as they returned to the shrine, the spirits spoke once more. "You have passed," they declared, and the curse was lifted. The air around Moby and Asabe felt lighter, as if a heavy weight had been released. The village, long bound by fear, was finally free. The curse was broken, but Moby and Asabe knew that their work was far from over. The village of Anaka had been freed from the shadow of Chieftain Abu's curse, but the journey of healing was just beginning. As the spirit of the chieftain faded into the wind, Moby looked at Asabe, her face illuminated by the soft moonlight. Together, they had proved that love, when built on sacrifice and loyalty, could conquer even the deepest of sorrows. As the days passed, life in Anaka began to return to normal. The men of the village, once fearful of marriage, now began to seek the companionship of the women they had long admired. Children were born into a world where love and family were no longer forbidden, but celebrated. The villagers had learned that love was not a curse, it was a gift, a force of life that could heal even the deepest wounds. Moby and Asabe's bond grew stronger, and together, they began teaching the next generation about the true meaning of love and loyalty. They spoke of the trials they had faced, not as a warning, but as a lesson in resilience. Love is not about avoiding challenges, Moby would tell the younger men and women. It is about facing them with courage, together. Over time, the elders of Anaka, once wary of love's power, saw the changes in the village and came to realize that the curse was not something that needed to be feared, but understood. The village prospered, and the laughter of children once again filled the air. The men and women of Anaka were free to marry, to build families, and to love without fear. One evening, as Moby and Asabe sat together beneath the baobab tree, they looked at the village that had been forever changed by their defiance. The village was alive with hope, and for the first time in generations, there was a sense of peace that could not be shaken. Moby held Asabe's hand and smiled. "We did it," he whispered. Asabe nodded, her eyes filled with pride. "No, Moby. We did it together. All of us." The legacy of their love and the village's newfound freedom would be passed down for generations. The story of Moby and Asabe, who defied the curse and chose love over fear, would become a legend, a reminder to all that love, no matter the challenge, could heal and transform the world. And so, Anaka flourished in peace, love, and unity, forever free from the chains of the past. The curse of Chieftain Abu was nothing but a distant memory, a lesson for those who would come after. And Moby and Asabe's love, forged in the fire of defiance and sacrifice, would be remembered as the spark that ignited a new era for their village, a village where love, at last, was allowed to bloom.